it's a big squad. We took 31 to Portugal. There's some difficult decisions to make. It wasn't easy. We had to disappoint some players, but we've had to pick a squad that we think we won't compete, and I'm happy with the final draft.
I guess the big surprise is Ruben.
Yeah, of course it's going to raise some eyebrows. Of course it is. He's uncapped, but I've just made one of those decisions that I'm confident he's going to be a player in the future. Absolutely, I know that. I can see what he's got. I think McCarthy has shown confidence in him this season. I've seen him play for Cardiff in the Championship, and he's done really, really well. And it's a bit of a gamble, but I trust in him. I know what he brings to the team and what he brings to the group. He's a confident young lad, and he's not fazed by anything, and he's got a bright future in front of him.
And a blow to lose James Lawrence so late.
Yeah, really disappointed for James, and it was hard for him. He picked a slight calf injury up on the game in Portugal before we flew back on Saturday. He just thought it would tightened up a little bit, but we got him scanned, and it wasn't good news for him. So, yeah, that's the emotions of football, the difficulty. So the day before, we have to tell Tom Lockyer that he's not in the 26, and probably within 12 hours, we're phoning him to let him know that he's, all the players that left knew they were on standby, and we've had to call him back in. So the mixtures of emotions, what he's had to go through as well, is all part and parcel of football, but great to have him back involved, but disappointed for James.
So with James, it's not one where you would risk it and see in case he could be involved in the later stages.
Could have been an option maybe if we didn't have other players in a similar position with coming back from injury, or unfortunately for us at the minute, we've got a couple of players that are coming back from injury, and we can't see into the future. We don't know how they're going to, and whether they're going to fully recover. So we've had to take a gamble on a couple anyway, and that having the 26-man squad has certainly helped us do that, so that we can delay when we put these players back in. But to take another one was probably not, the most sensible thing to do and logical thing to do. So that's where Ben Cabango has come into it now. He's the fit centre half that's played in the Championship playoff final, and has played well when he's been asked to play for Swansea. And an opportunity now for Locks, who's slightly ahead of James, obviously, in his development and injury. So yeah, it was the most sensible thing to do in the end.
You couldn't have picked a tougher friendly. A lot of people's favourites to win the whole thing.
Yeah, that's right. No, I mean, Belgium are number one, France are number two. It's a great test for us. It's a great test for many reasons. We're going to face similar opposition against Switzerland with how they press, how aggressive they are in the press. So I think it's a worthwhile exercise, absolutely, to give us a bit of a heads up into what we're going to face with similarities of what we're going to face against Switzerland. So it's a big ask. And there'll be times where they'll have a lot of the ball, France, and we'll have to, defend as a unit and defend really hard and work hard for each other. And that's going to be the theme throughout the tournament. But we know in transition, when we got the ball, we've got players in the team that are going to hurt opposition, and that'll be the plan going into the game.
Without giving the lineup away, it's not one then for experimenting. It's going to be pretty much the team that starts the tournament. Is it tomorrow?
No, not really. We've got players that need minutes. We've got players that ain't quite ready, so we've got to manage that as well. So it's not going to be the starting 11. It's some of the players will play a certain amount of minutes in their recovery from being injured or getting them up to full fitness. Our focus is on Switzerland, the first game in the tournament, and these two friendlies are going to help us achieve getting our best 11 on that pitch.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you. There's an echo, by the way.
Hey Rob, you're right. Sorry, my camera's not working. Yeah, I mean, they are world champions, but with the French as well, it's a great test, isn't it? Like you just mentioned previously about what you can then go forward and things you can work on, in that game against Switzerland.
Absolutely. It's a great game for us. It's going to be a tough game. Absolutely. And it'll stress us, and we'll have a lot of time without the ball. But that's going to be relative to what we're going to face in the Euros, similar to how Switzerland play without the ball, as they press with a lot of intensity and press you high and aggressive up the pitch. There's no points on this game, so we can learn some valuable lessons from these two friendlies that we've got. That's the idea behind it. It's not going to be the complete finished article by no means. We've got players that will need certain minutes to get them up the full stretch to play the first game against Switzerland. So it's a great game for many reasons.
Now the selection's been made, you've got these two great friendlies. How excited are you and the squad?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's been a hard couple of days for us, for the group, for the boys. We've had to disappoint, but now full focus is on the 26 that we've picked, and you know, we're really looking forward to the start of the games coming now and the start of the tournament. So, you know, training's been really bright, as the press have seen this morning for the first part in the warm up. You know, they're a great group of lads all together, and we're looking forward now to the start of the tournament.
You said you got a couple of players, you know, on that kind of edge of coming back from injury. Can you give us a bit more detail on that?
Well, we've got, you know, Aaron's probably not played, Rambo's probably not played the amount of minutes that he would have liked in Italy. So, you know, it's been, we've got to be sort of sympathetic and how we can't push him 100 miles an hour then, let's put it that way, to start with. What's important for us is that I've got all the best players and all the squad ready for that first game against Switzerland. It's pointless pushing him early doors and having somebody break down when you've passed that point of no return then, and then they're out for the first couple of games. So we're sympathetic with that. You know, Ben Davies, all the lads that haven't played a lot of minutes, we have to manage their minutes. We can't go straight into playing against France and expect players to play 90 minutes without having, you know, repercussions of that. So it's just common sense, a lot of it, but it's having a plan in place so that we're sympathetic and now we're getting ready for that first game against Switzerland.
And personally, how do you feel? You know, tomorrow will be the first game where you've been officially in this role, and how are you feeling?
Excited, proud, extremely proud. Yeah, and you know, to work with that group of players and the staff I've got around me is like I said, one of pride. I'm from Tylerstown in the Valleys, and you know, to play for your country is a great honour, but then to manage it as well, and certainly in a major tournament like this is unbelievable. And but like I said, it's work now, and we're all focused on what needs to be done, and I'm looking forward to working with the group.
Last question, probably. We know the difficulties everyone's had with it across the country. This Euros, this chance to kind of brighten up people's lives a little bit, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I was a supporter myself in 2016 when we done what we done. So it was brilliant to be a part of that. And of course we want to do the same. We want to give the Welsh public, the Welsh supporters, something to be proud of. I know what the support is like. I'm really disappointed we can't get the fans out there and support us in the manner in which we have done in the past. I'm really disappointed for them, but I want us all to stick together, you know, connect as much as we can, and we'll be doing a lot more press because of that. And yeah, we're all one. We're all in it together, and we want to share these experiences with all the supporters.
Listen, can't wait. Good luck.
Thanks, Beth. Cheers.
Diolch, Beth. Rob Phillips.
Hi, Rob. How are you?
Very good, Rob. About time you turned up.
Yeah, been busy elsewhere, as you know. Well, talking of elsewhere, I mean, how are Ben Cabango and Connor Roberts after their disappointment? Have you had to lift them at all?
No, they're top professionals, so of course they're disappointed. You know, everybody wants to play at the top level, and the Premiership is certainly that. So to miss out on that opportunity, of course they're disappointed. But Connor's second-day recovery was the first session he'd done with us, and you wouldn't have thought it was his second-day recovery. You wouldn't have thought he'd had the disappointment of losing the playoff final. Same with Ben, you know. So top professionals, and they've come in and they've trained as if, you know, it was normal.
You talked about the injury worries and bringing back the injured players gradually. Who won't you have against France? Is Tom Lockyer definitely not going to feature?
Yeah, it's too soon for Locks. Absolutely. You know, he's absolutely one of the ones now that we can't risk. You know, you push, then, you know, we could push them over the edge and then have them out of the competition, and we don't want that. You know, we've got a 26-man squad now that we want to protect and make sure that come the first game against Switzerland, everybody's there raring to go.
I've looked at this French squad. I'm sure, no doubt you have as well. It's a scary proposition, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got a decent squad, Rob, haven't they? You know, when you look at they could pick one of 3 11s, couldn't they, and compete in the Euros. So you want to play against the best, and they certainly fall into that category. And there's going to be a lot of occasions throughout the game where we don't have the ball, but that's part of the exercise. That's part of the positives we want to come out of it. We want to see how we handle pressure and stress like that, and how they press. It's very similar to how Switzerland play. So, you know, the reason we picked this friendly as well is because of the similarities going into our first game that we're going to face. There's no points on this game, so you know, there's that sort of less pressure. We want to continue the momentum, of course we do, but it's about getting our performance across and sort of drip feeding the players in that need the minutes to get them ready for Switzerland.
But the likes of Mbappe and Benzema and Griezmann, they can be, it looks daunting on paper at least.
Well, world-class players. They're world-class players, absolutely. And like I said, the three that you've just named there, there's probably another 15 that can, you know, if not more, that can fall into that category. So, yeah, it's going to be a big test for us. But like we've said, you know, we need to be organised. We need to, we've done a lot of work yesterday and more of the attacking side of it today. But yeah, we've got players in that team as well that with the ball in transition, we can hurt teams. And that'll be part of the process.
Rob, it wouldn't be a Wales press conference if I didn't ask you about Gareth Bale, because everybody, it's a regular event. He's not solidly put away the rumours that he might retire or the speculation that he might retire. He says he's just focused on the tournament. For you, that's brilliant. But are you still looking to him to lead Wales to the World Cup?
Well, yeah, he's a captain. You know, my priority and focus right now is that he's in a good place coming into this camp for the Euros. That's it. That's all we're focused on right now, the here and now. And watching him play at the back end of last season and scoring goals is great, is brilliant. And he's coming into camp with confidence. And that's all my focus is. I've got Gareth Bale in a good place and scoring goals and in good form. And that's, you know, great for any manager to have.
But last one, I mean, he said in the last window, he wants to fulfill that ambition of taking Wales to a World Cup.
Well, there you go then. Let's hang on to that. That's brilliant. That's great news, isn't it?
All the best, Rob. Enjoy Nice.
Cheers, Rob. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Rob. Daniel Bevan.
Hi, Rob. How you doing, mate? You right?
Good, thank you.
Good stuff. Just a couple bits from me. Azerbaijan, the FA there have announced that fans who go to the Euros will be able to go without having to quarantine. But of course, the Welsh government advice at the moment is still not to travel to foreign destinations. Does that put you in a bit of a rock and a hard place? Because obviously you want fans there, and they're saying that they can go but shouldn't.
Well, we're governed by legislation, aren't we? So we can't interfere with that. I'm a football manager, a football coach, and I have to focus on that. Do I want my supporters there? Do we want our supporters there? Absolutely. Yeah, of course we do. And you know, we'll do anything that we possibly can to help and encourage that. But as far as legislation goes and what the government decide, we can't get involved in that. It's frustrating as it is.
Completely understand. You mentioned Euro 2016. You were a fan at that time. Is that hanging over the squad like a cloud, or is it actually more like encouragement? Because do you want to do better? Well, clearly you do, I should say. But you know, is it holding as like a benchmark, or are you just going in with the encouragement that you've done it before, you can do it again?
I think that's the attitude. Yeah, look at what we've done in the past, and against all the odds. You know, it was a disappointing friendly building up to that tournament, and there was a bit of doom and gloom around the place. And look what they went on to achieve. So you can't get carried away with the build up to the friendlies to the build up to the start of the tournament. So that's the message to the supporters and to the players. But also we've got a different squad now. You know, we can't keep talking about the 2016 success that they had, because they were a complete different group of players. You know, I think over the last couple of years, we've sympathetically sort of the older senior players from that camp have gone away from international football, and we've got a younger breed coming through now that are capable of competing at this level, and you know, we're looking forward to seeing how far this group can go.
And just lastly, a bit more of a personal one. You mentioned about being from Tylerstown, so I imagine you know what it's like for that part of the Valleys. You know, one that very much is excited about football, always has been. Tell me a little bit about your early footballing memories in Tylerstown.
Yeah, so Cardiff and Swansea were in the lower divisions back then. You know, I grew up in the 80s in Tylerstown, and played for Tylerstown Boys Club, and then went to Watford. I think I was 11 when I first went up to Watford. Tom Wally was a youth team coach at Watford, who some of the Welsh public will know. He's from North Wales. He was a Watford youth team coach at the time, so that was the connection. I went there, and then that was my opportunity to leave the Valleys at 16 years old. And so 30 years ago, yeah, I left the Valleys to go and pursue a career in football, and thankfully then went on to play professional football and then into coaching and management. So yeah, grew up in the Rhondda, and still got family there now. And yeah, nice to go back and visit. and a very, very proud Valley boy. Yeah.
So you know better than anyone how important these types of games and Wales going to major tournaments, which probably wouldn't have seemed possible back when you were playing when you were younger.
No, that's right. Yeah, we went. My dad used to take me to watch Wales play, and yeah. So we've always just missed out, and to qualify now for 2 consecutive Euros is fantastic, and to be a part of that. Yeah, there's a lot of people in the Valleys that are really proud as well. So I completely understand the importance from a supporter's point of view. I was there, like I said, in 2016 as a supporter. I'm very proud. I know what it means to the Welsh public, and that's a disappointment that we can't get all the fans in. I want more than 6,500 there Saturday. I want it bouncing, but we can't have that at the moment. So we just have to get on with it. But absolutely understand the importance of how proud it would be to be a success in the Euros.
Great stuff. All the best, Rob. Thanks so much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, Phil Cadden.
Hi, Rob. Hope you're well.
Hi, Phil. Good, thanks.
Firstly, could you explain the decision to leave out Hal Robson-Kanu? Because obviously he scored 2 goals in the Premier League in his last 3 games.
Yeah, it comes down to personal preference then, doesn't it? As a manager, as a coach, you've got players that you want to play a certain way. And, if we're going to play with, let's say, with a false 9, and you've got arguably one of the best footballers in Aaron Ramsey and Harry Wilson scoring goals consistently and playing consistently as well. So it's not about a one-off game. It's about a level of consistency throughout the performances. And we all know what Kiefer's record's like in international football. So it's difficult decisions to make. Like I said, I've had to leave and disappoint a few people, but it comes down to what, from a footballing point of view, they give me with different formations that we use. And that's ultimately how I come to that final conclusion.
Of the 26 in the squad for tomorrow, how many of those players have fitness problems or doubts or recovery?
Well, we can only pick 23 to be in the squad. So there's a couple that will do some extra training that need to be, pulled out of the group and do a little bit extra. And then there's a few that we'll have to manage the minutes. We don't want to stress them. We don't want to put them into 90 minutes, certainly against a top team like France, because that'll cause more problems, and we don't want that with so soon to the tournament starting. So we've got to be, like I said, sympathetic to that, and there'll be a plan in place for how many minutes certain players play. I'm going to go into the detail of who the players are, but we'll see that for ourselves tomorrow evening.
And lastly, from me, as Wales manager, do you discuss with Gareth his future, or are you in the dark like everyone else?
No, I have open and honest conversations with Gareth, and what's the priority right now is he's in good form coming into this tournament, and that's what he does after this tournament and long term. I have no input whatsoever, and I don't want to be a part of that. That's up for him and his family to decide on what he does and what's best for Gareth. What concerns me now is what he's like, what frame of mind he's in, what form he's in, and that ticks all the boxes right now. He's playing towards the back end of the season. He's playing and scoring goals, and that's great for me.
Thanks, Rob.
Cheers, Phil.
Okay, Chris Cohen.
Hi, Rob. Just a quick couple. Have you got any regrets about the timing of the squad for the Newport County boys ahead of Wembley?
No, I think the way in which we delivered the squad was special. I thought that was brilliant. How it was planned and how it was organised, and what we did with the Castles, I thought that was excellent. To do that, it takes a lot of planning, so we can't sort of leave it until last minute and see who's going to be in the playoff final. I spoke with both players personally Saturday evening, and they really appreciated the phone call as opposed to just seeing the squad announced. I spoke with Flinny, the manager, on Sunday morning, and there's no issues whatsoever. So really, really disappointed. We all watched the game yesterday, some of the players and the staff, and we all watched the game back, and really disappointed for him. And it was a bit of pill for him to swallow with the manner in which they lost the game, because I didn't think it was a penalty, so to speak. So disappointed. But with regards to the announcement, no, I back it absolutely. I thought it was a great thing to do, and I spoke with the players and manager, and there was no issues.
How close was Josh in particular? Because obviously you've given him 2 caps. How close was he to getting that?
Yeah, he's a talented player. Absolutely, we've known that. I've known Josh years ago when he was with the under-21s. I'm going back 5-6 years now. We know he's a gifted footballer. So again, be interesting to see what the summer holds for him now and what happens.
Do you think playing at a high level will help him push for more?
Well, any of your players that you have playing international football in your squad, you want playing at the highest level they possibly can. So, of course, so we'll have to see what happens.
Okay, I'll let some others go with some non-county questions. Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Cheers.
Okay, Gary Jacob.
Hi Rob. Just quick, you obviously played Danny in the March games. Is it his position now to lose? Because obviously for so long Wayne had that position, and I guess it was a surprise to many people that you made that change. Obviously, I know Wayne's just coming back from injury.
Yeah, we've got healthy competition, and as a manager, as a coach, that's what you want. You want competition for all places, and you don't want anybody getting complacent and thinking they can just turn up and wear the jersey. And I think we've got that now, albeit they were in a very similar position. Wayne was coming back from injury, so probably giving Wardy that opportunity because of that. Wardy's give a good account of himself. Wayne kept a clean sheet. It's a difficult one, but they're both going to play minutes in the friendlies, and then we'll make what we think is the right decision for the team moving forward.
Is there a way back for Howe into the next squad for the World Cup? Or is it a door closed based on tactics and tactical things, or other things outside? Perhaps what happened in March.
No, nothing to do with March whatsoever. Tyler was also sent back, and he's in the squad. There's nothing to do with that. We never close the door on any Welsh player. Absolutely not. I have to pick a squad and a team that suits our formation and how we want to play. And Kiefer's record speaks for itself at international level. I've got Tyler playing Premiership football for Leeds at a ridiculous intensity. When you watch them play live, it's phenomenal. And Tyler's gone to another level with regards to that. So, you've got Aaron Ramsey, who's looking good in training, and we all know what a wonderful player he is. He plays a different sort of role. And if you're playing that false nine, and Harry Wilson, so we've got a real strong forward line, and that are in good form and playing football consistently. So that's the reasons behind it. That's the justification for picking those in the 26.
Just one more. So Gareth was saying he obviously doesn't want his future to cloud the tournament, and obviously no one wants that because everyone wants the team to do well. But I mean, given he's sort of thrown it out there about creating chaos, would you perhaps rather now that wasn't said, because it is now going to kind of perhaps be asked quite often to you and the team, and could that have effect on kind of around?
No, it won't have an effect on us because there's nothing to answer. What Gareth chooses to do after the tournament is up to Gareth and his family, and he'll make the right decision for himself. But no, there's no issues there with us. We've got like I said, we've got him in a good place. He was playing consistently towards the back end of last season and scoring goals, and that's all I'm focused on. I've got a good player on my hands that is, what we've seen in top European football, what he can do and achieve. We've got him in a good place going into this tournament. That's all I'm focused on.
Thanks, Rob.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're going to have to wrap up with Rob there just due to time constraints. So thank you, Rob.